First, they came for drug users, drug dealers, drug syndicates. And of course, nobody said a word because who would like to defend this menace of our society? Who would like to defend drug users who commit crimes, rapes, robbery, etc.? Of course, we hate these elements in our society, these criminal elements in our society. But, you know, that's, what Mr. Duterte, our president, chose to focus on. He would like to focus on these undesirable elements of our society. Of course, he must be a hero for saying and doing that, because who would love to defend again these criminal elements in our society, right? But nobody said a thing. Then they came for smokers. Nobody could say a thing because they're afraid of being attacked by Duterte fanatics and followers, right? And this reminds me of this poem in the 1940s, First They Came. That's the title of this very, very timeless uh, poem by a German Lutheran pastor named Martin Niemöller. I'm not sure if I've pronounced that right, by the way. But this poem really is very significant and relevant to our politics for today, because just yesterday, the 27th of July, the president of this country, President Rodrigo Duterte, ordered, the closure, the shutting down of Pcso and all, gambling activities in this country. And he's the president. So what we have, by the way, the reason why he was able to do that is because what we have is government controlled gambling activities and businesses. That's the reason why we have PCSO and PCSO and all of these gambling businesses, whatever you want to call them, or activities, are under the office of the president. It's not under Congress or the judiciary or a special independent entity of the government. So it's under the president's the power of the presidency in this country. That's the reason why Duterte can order illegalization or to illegalize gambling and Lotto. So sabi na sa Pinoy, di ba? So, why the hell am I defending gamblers? Is Lotto gambling? Well, of course, it's a game of chance. Could be it's a form of gambling, by the way. So, I'm not really into gambling. I'm not into drugs. I'm not into smoking. I don't smoke. But I drink occasionally. Probably Duterte will soon order the cracking down on liquors or alcoholic beverages in this country to totally destroy the economy, right? So here we go. Yesterday, it seems like nothing happened. I was at work, and then I learned via social media. I think it was just I didn't really read that article. It's like an in passing article, and then I realized, oh, I had to Google it at work. What happened to Lotto? And I was able to confirm it through my friends as well and through Google or the internet that Duterte already shut down or illegalized PCSO, Lotto, or all these gambling activities in this country. And I noticed that everything seems normal today. It seems like Filipinos are so desensitized, with all of these changes, drastic changes that really, really affect their rights. Well, again, I'm not a gambler. I'm just talking about this because lately I started playing this game of chance. Tumaya ako ng Lotto. I started betting, but it's just once a week for the past 2 weeks. So I just spent like 200 pesos in total. And I don't really miss it because, I'm not into gambling. So I'm not an addict. I'm not a gambling addict. And I'm not into drugs as well. I don't remember using drugs at all. And I'm not into smoking. So I don't have to worry, about being the subject of a crackdown, right? No, I'm much more of a libertarian, okay? I believe in freedom, in personal responsibility, that it's not part of the power or authority of the government to police morality, you know. Um, I don't believe that the government must do all these things in the guise of protecting our rights. We have a very moralistic president nowadays. But what will happen now to thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees who depend on this business, right? You know, I went outside. I live in the gig in which every street in the gig, you can see Lotto outlets, gambling outlets where you could bet anytime, any day. So I thought, what will happen to those people? Hundreds of thousands of people probably lost their jobs. I'm looking right now at that particular article wherein a lot of people probably lost their jobs. For them, this is their source of livelihood. Too bad, if you have that kind of livelihood, but that's the reality in this country today. We are not economically independent. That's the reason why I'm so upset. Because the president is focusing much on things that could be secondary in terms of their importance. The most important, the biggest problem in this country is the economy. Stupid. Focus on the economy, and then everything follows. You would like to lessen, for example, the number of drug pushers. You would like to eradicate the statistics when it comes to drug pushing, drug using. Start with the economy. You know, if people have jobs, they would be busy. They would they wouldn't have time, doing all drugs. I've been, professional all my life. I was student. I was very independent. My parents never visited me at my dormitory and apartments because they trusted me, because they knew that I'm not gonna do anything that would destroy my health and life and future, right? That's the reason why I believe in personal independence and responsibility. But that's gonna be, a secondary topic. But let me just talk about this. I have this. I'm not sure if this is actually verified, but Duterte is suspending Lotto and other Pcos or games because of corruption. Okay, let's park that aside first. Because of corruption led to the loss of jobs for 314,596 employees. We're not just talking about the secondary or the related industries that are connected to Pcso and the entire, gambling business of the government, because as like I said earlier, gambling in the Philippines is heavily, totally, absolutely regulated by the government, by the state, and it's under the power of the president. It's under the office of the president. So according to this, STL job generation only. So 300, this is just for STL, I'm not sure. But we're talking about hundreds of thousands of jobs. And I don't want to deal with the charity works that Pcso does, because that's expected, because, well, the government wants, gambling, so it must give back to the people, right? Because we're gonna get back to the corruption thing. Corruption exists in the government. As long as you have government in each and every industry, whatever industry that is, name it, whatever the government controls. And like I said, the only industry, or one of the industries that government totally controls, is gambling. Okay, when it comes to other entities, the government totally regulates, like banking, like public utility industries, etc., telecommunications, name it. But in terms of gambling, or these games of chance, etc., they are totally controlled by the government. So, like I said, wherever government, or whatever government touches, you see corruption. And that's the reason why like I said, I'm a libertarian. Okay, libertarian in the sense of the Western definition of the libertarianism: limited government. Okay, personal responsibility, free market, minimal government intervention, etc. And if President Duterte is to eradicate totally corruption, the solution to that, because like I said earlier, it's not under the under the power or purview of the government to control, or what I call this, control, or control our morality. But yeah, legislate is the best term. I'm sorry, I forgot that. Not control, but legislate morality. You cannot legislate the morality of the people. If you do that, we'll end up a dictatorship. They did that in Nazi Germany. Okay, they did that in Soviet Russia. They did it in China. Notice that every country, any country that claims to legislate or control morality, that country is a dictatorship or near dictatorship. So let me get back to how can we, since we cannot legislate morality and reality, gambling is already part of our culture. It's like drinking and smoking. That's part of Filipino culture. I don't want to say that because that can be insulting to a lot of people, but we've been on earth, we've been drinking ever. I'm maybe an atheist or agnostic, but during biblical times, name it, people drank during the time of Moses, if you believe in the Bible. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this is already part of our DNA. Freedom is part of our DNA. So if Duterte would like to eradicate corruption, the best solution to corruption in gambling or state-controlled gambling business is privatization. Privatization. I believe, Singapore did that. One of the most liberalized or the freest economies on earth, in the world, And the only thing about Singaporeans under Lee Kuan Yew, the Singaporeans were not allowed to do gambling, but they definitely allow gamblings for foreigners, which is which is good because it's a very tiny society, and you wouldn't want your people to be addicted to gambling, but yeah, they privatize. In the United States, they have privatized gambling. So you want to eradicate corruption in the government? The solution is privatization. Privatize it, and then give it some control if you want to. If you would like to prevent fraud, because of course there's going to be fraud in every type of business. You would like to protect the rights of gamblers or bettors. For example, if let's say uh, Pcso is privatized already, let's keep the name Pcso. If it's already privatized, then what the government can do to prevent fraud, to prevent manipulation or privatize corruption is to give it some kind of control. Okay, jail those who are gonna commit, fraud, to defraud, the betters or the public, because this is gonna be public, like a public utility, company still. And if you want to privatize it, probably give it to Filipinos. But Chinese, the friends of our president from China and Beijing, are definitely gonna get a big chunk of this privatized gambling business in this country. Of course, he's a China puppet, according to his critics. But I don't know. What do you know about Philippine politics? So that's all I can say. In terms of drugs, I have a libertarian view, actually. I believe that the biggest problem in this country first is our politics. We have a very bad political history, ideology wise as well. We're so bad at that. But what the president can do to help solve drug use, drug cases, gambling, is to focus on the economy. And the only way we can improve our economy is to liberalize it, give it more freedom. Okay, allow, now that we the president has almost rubber stamp Congress. Definitely, I can call it a rubber stamp Congress, because they're afraid of him. What we have is near dictatorship. You can definitely be a dictator once you become the president of this country, because the constitution allows you to do so. You can definitely, like the president did. He has the control in all areas of the government, and he's been trying to control the judiciary. When a justice named Justice Carpio commented about China, you know, China trying to interfere in our affairs and trying to fish in our ocean. He was attacked by the minions of the presidents, especially Salvador Panelo, who was my former professor at law school. So he has definitely everything, absolute, almost absolute, I must say, control of uh, of the judiciary and the legislative branch of the government. And we have three branches of the government. Don't believe ocasio-cortez in the U.S. I'm actually into U.S. politics as well. That very dumb and very stupid um, congresswoman from Bronx, New York, said that there are three chambers of the government: the presidency, what did you say, the Congress. I forgot, but she's so stupid about the three chambers of government. Um, And yeah, since he since the president has almost absolute control of all the three branches of the government, okay, why not endorse changing the constitution for the better? But I don't really trust them. That's the problem. To the only way we can free our economy to be like that of Singapore, to be like that of South Korea and Japan and Hong Kong, is to totally revamp our constitution, because foreign investors could not invest in our country without being forced to share 60% of the equity to Filipino cronies, Filipino old rich. Okay, in Singapore, if you have money and you would like to do business in Singapore, you can do that without the 60/40 agreement. The only way foreigners can do business in the Philippines without the property sharing arrangement or the equity sharing arrangement is when they invest in the BPO call center industry, because that is a job generating industry. It's like export oriented industry. But you know, South Korea did in the 1980s. They liberalized their economy with the help of the United States, and they became one of the best economies in Asia. They have Samsung, for example. Samsung cannot do business in the Philippines without too much restriction. So he needs to address that. The president needs to address all these economic issues, and everything will follow. Trump did not focus on fentanyl. They have drug problems in the US. And even Trump said that the drug war, the government or state led drug war in the US failed. It led to loss of thousands of lives, innocent lives included. It led to corruption. It corrupted the agencies, the CIA, the FBI, etc. It led to failure, to billions and hundreds of billions of dollars spent. You cannot legislate morality. Focus on the economy, because this is an economic issue, including gambling. You cannot just say, oh, I'm going to illegalize gambling. You cannot do that. People will still do gambling. I may not be a gambler, but there are still a lot of people out there. Even the president himself, maybe it could be, an undisciplined person. Siya pa, he's not more immoral, man. You know, marami siyang kalokohan din. Lalo na kabataan niya, di ba? He's been a naughty guy when he was still young. So, good luck. You know, good luck with this type of solution, government draconian solution to solve an economic problem. Again, drug and gambling are economic problems, and the only way the government or the legislature can resolve it, can help alleviate all these issues, is to focus on the economy. You know, the government cannot definitely provide jobs. The only way for the government to provide jobs is to encourage them, okay, by freeing our economy, by encouraging investors, because the only way we can have good economy is for investors to come in, because ito yung mahirap sa mga socialist, diba? Ayaw nila. Gusto nila yung gobyerno mismo. They would like to have the government control everything. And that is what President Duterte just did yesterday. Yesterday. We are a semi-socialist, society and country. That's the reality. A semi-socialist. And semi-socialist is a fascist state. It's a combination of excessive government control and of the industry and corporate power. That's it. A la China. But China is definitely more economically free, or it's freer economically speaking than the Philippines, because anyone can invest in China. But that's gonna be for another story. Well, too bad I could no longer bet for the third time. Like I told you earlier, I had this. I spent a total of 200 pesos for the past 2 weeks in Lotto, but I had no luck at all. But according to news, Pcso is going to appeal President Duterte to order the resumption of Lotto and other state-sanctioned games. Good luck with that. They are under the the what do you call this, the office of the president. They will be fired first before they could do that. Here's, the Lotto, um, Pcso. They are totally silent. I'm not sure if this is a Pcso um, page. Let me just check the official Pcso page. So there you go. I have bad internet, but so far that's it. They're totally silent. They never said a thing. The last, Lotto result was on the 26th of July. Nobody won. Good luck, Filipinas, and have a great day. I would like that if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and share as well. But this is again Tosam, and have a great day to all of you. We need really good luck.